Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching. Gotta fix the dog cam. Where the hell's the dog cam? Alright. That should work. Guess the dog's camera's not lined up. I think I have too many notifications, but by the way, everybody, you guys aren't doing what I've said. You know the thing at the beginning where it says hit the notification bell in all videos? It's not true when a lot of you say, oh yeah, I do that. Okay, because YouTube actually counts. And it's like 1% of my viewers have that checked. Okay, it's ridiculous. It's just, you know. So you guys got to actually click on that thing that says all videos. I don't know, was I live earlier on the first time I tried to stream when there was only like 30 people total? I don't really even remember now. I just ended the stream. Was there a stream that I ended today because there was just nobody here watching? You guys remember that? Hello? My God, you guys are, it's just incredible. Can I get a response, please? Okay, so there was a stream, yeah, and I just ended that one, and then I started another stream a few minutes later and got 250 people. I mean, isn't that amazing? Like, what would be the reason there? It's just crazy. Anyways, now the Middle East is, I mean, let's see, Trump was at the used to be the G8, Russia was kicked out. You know, it's sort of true what he was saying about, you know, if Russia was still in the G8, they probably wouldn't have attacked Ukraine, because then they would have been part of something. But then they felt like, oh well, screw you, you know. But anyways, it's the G7 now, and he had to leave early to fly back to the United States to do like a military meeting because of something that's going on. He actually tweeted. Or not, I don't know if it was tweet, but on his Truth Social, he put out that, or somewhere he put out that the people in Tehran should get the hell out of there, evacuate. But I did an earlier live stream, and you know, I'll probably go over that same document again because some people probably didn't see it, but we did really poorly, you know, in terms of super chats and whatnot. So I'm hoping that on this live stream here, we can at least try to move forward and get to the goal for the day. All right. It was really just weird. Let's see what he put here. On here it says, I gave Iran a chance after chance to make a deal. I told them, in the strongest of words, to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. And this is a couple days ago, so I'm just reading this one. I mean, this was pretty crazy, right? I mean, I didn't see this a few days ago, but certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now, and it will only get worse. There's already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter with the next. There's time to make this slaughter with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there is nothing left, and save what is once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction, just do it before it's too late. And they didn't do it. You know, I mean, that's the thing. That's the the people of Iran need to uprise against their own leader, just like every other country has done. You just got to do it. Right now, they're weak enough where the people of Iran, I guarantee you that the people of Iran do not like having Khomeini as their leader. He's a nut job, psycho, basically just a complete whack job, fanatical leader who is, his whole goal, he's been hell-bent on destroying Israel. He's funded all of the various terror attacks around there. He's the one that funds Hamas, Hezbollah, that country, I mean. They fund Hezbollah, Hamas, etc., etc., etc. And there's just going to be no more of that. So that's the thing. There's going to be no more of it. And they just got to deal with it. All right, so these are the ones from today. Somebody please explain to Kooky Tucker that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Why was Tucker like anti? Some people's brains don't work. America first means many great things, including the fact that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Make America great again. Then Iran should have signed the deal. This is 4 hours ago. I told them to sign. What a shame. And he did. Remember that? On the 13th, he said that. What a shame and waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. I mean, that is about as spooky of a creepy sounding warning you could ever imagine, and because that's probably what the reality is. I think this is Israel's time to protect their country into the future. Israel has nuclear weapons. They don't use them. They would probably use a nuke if it was coming down to the last moment in time and they had no other options to protect themselves. Iran would use them as an offensive weapon. As soon as they had one, they'd use it because that's what they do. Or they would use it as a threat and bargaining chip all the time. And that's why you can't allow a country like Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I think it's strange when people go, well, how come Israel gets to have one? Because they're sane. See that there's a difference there. Okay? They don't have this crazy, fanatical nut job. It's sort of like, I don't even know where a good, if Kim Jong-un had nuclear weapons or something. I mean, my God, these guys are crazy people. They're pretty close. They might even have one at this point. Who the hell knows? But what do you guys think about that? Hearing that through a reporter. Heard what kind of comment? Well, that doesn't mean anything, Natalie. You just, hey, I heard JD made some comment, but I'm hearing what? I mean, have a full sentence so we know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's a no-brainer. See, but here's the thing, everybody. There's a lot of people in the United States who hate Israel, and for no reason. They just hate them because they were told to hate them by a particular party. Okay, they are always told, oh, Israel's the. They compare Israel to like the United States oppressing people because of the poor Palestinians. But again, remember the other night when we went through that scenario? None of the other countries in the area have given land back to the quote Palestinians for peace either. The only one that has is Israel. They gave back the West Bank and Gaza Strip. They gave them land and just battles and battles and battles. So you can't really ever say, oh, well, let's make them a state now. You know, because it's not peaceful. They don't recognize Israel as a country. How do you make somebody a state who doesn't even recognize you as that? And then you've got Jordan, you've got Lebanon, you've got Egypt, Syria, whatever. They have land that the Palestinians once lived in and have given none of it back. In fact, they won't take them because they don't want them living there. You see, that's the crazy part about it. The whole thing is nuts. Thanks, Natalie. I heard JD something that there's no proof Iran is making weapons. No, he didn't say that. There's no way in hell he said that. Yeah, there's no way in hell JD Vance said that. Now, man, look at this right here, though. I mean, this is crazy right here, right? And I mean crazy like this is like he's literally letting Iran know Iran should have signed the deal. Because Israel is not going to stop now. They are going to finish. It's very similar to after October 7th, when they went over to the Gaza and just started taking out all of the terrorists there. And they're going to do something similar here in Iran and make it so that they are incapable of doing anything. Now, the proud mullahs and everything, they're probably going to lead their country into a catastrophe because they are not going to. Apparently they're trying to reach out to make some sort of a deal now. Okay, but now they're not. They have zero negotiating power, so they're in a really, really bad place at this point. Anyways, thanks, Natalie. Yeah, who knows who's in here now? How many Iranian agents are walking around in our country who came over the southern border? It's just absolutely crazy. Don't you remember there was people live streaming at the border and there was literally people from the Middle East coming over the Mexican border? And they were they're making crazy comments too, like, whoa. Like really kind of comments like, well, you don't know what we're going to do. Weird shit like that. And where are those people today? Yeah. Now we went over the whole thing. A homicide detective's daughter. We went over the whole thing. Yeah, we went over the entire history. Of course it was. I mean, it's unbelievable. We went over how Israel's country, they won a bunch of land in different wars. And then for peace, they gave back the Sinai Desert to Egypt. They gave back some land, I think even to Lebanon, and not Syria, because that's the Golan Heights, and that looks down on Israel. They're not going to give that back. But then they gave the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and what have the other neighbors given the Palestinians? Absolutely nothing, everybody. Yeah, it'd be amazing if people... you should go back and listen to the end of that show the other night. It was great. It was this cool conversation with Chat GPT, and it has all the historical information in there, and it was cool how it literally I see, just absolutely, how hypocritical a lot of these other countries are that are over there. They just keep using the Palestinians as sort of the whipping boys to Israel over and over and over again, but never really helping them themselves, you know. Well, you should go watch it. Yeah, it was like, we went and did, it was crazy. I actually asked them, well, how, you know, it was cool. I don't know how to explain it, but you had to be there. But anyways, could you guys please help support the channel tonight so we can try to reach a goal for the day? It's been another one of these slow, slogging along days where somehow my channel doesn't get the support. Not sure what's happening, but I mean, the video that I made on the what do you call it, the assassination guy in Minnesota, almost nobody watched it. I mean, it was incredible. It's unbelievable. It's got like 1,000 views. Well, it's already died out, Natalie. That's the problem. And by the way, like, it's hard to reach goals. Megger, I watched your 4-hour video from yesterday while I was working today. Then I tried to catch you after work, and you seemed upset by... Yeah, I can see it right now. Of course there was only 36 people. I don't know how you saw that one. That one's not even in existence. But that was the maximum. There was only 36 people that were watching a live stream about a half hour in. And that means that one has no chance. That's insane. How do you have 160,000 subs and then only 36 people somehow got a notification? Hey, thanks, Kami. This is why I'm glad to be out of teaching, even though now on disability, even elementary schools were starting to teach this nonsense. Yeah, it's crazy. Let's see. JD Vance says he doesn't know if Iran wants a nuke, as Pentagon chief said, to confirm its activity. Well, he doesn't know, but he would be shocked if, let's see, shocked if Trump agreed to station U.S. nukes in Poland. That was March. I don't know. Hey, thank you very much, Patricia Grizo. Very kind, very kind. 5 channel memberships, and then Sandy Shirley and Maga Mama. Thanks for a great place to come that have great-minded people. Yeah, well, the problem is these days, if you have an opinion that doesn't match a particular political party's belief system, they cancel you. So you gotta kind of word things a little differently than you might. It sucks, man. Yeah. I was just reading some random comment. I don't think he said that he doesn't know if they have aspirations for nukes, but I mean, really, the International Atomic Agency actually determined that they were violating different policies, and their time just ran out. I mean, Iran didn't make a deal. They had to make a deal where people could go in and look at their systems and evaluate and monitor. And yeah, I mean, wow, would we let somebody come in our country? No, but you're in a different position, Iran. You are in a position where you've broken international rules and norms, and you are, I don't understand the reason there's any support. It's bizarre almost. It's almost like the hate for Israel and Jewish people by so many people trumps the fact that Iran is barbaric. They kill gay people, they hang them, they throw them off of buildings, they do all kind of just disgusting things, and all of a sudden, that's okay as long as it's, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Jesus. Is headed to the Middle East to join the second carrier group. Okay, cool. Yeah, they're going to, Iran is going to, right now, they have no, their skies are completely controlled by Israel. They can do whatever they want. And so they just thought, oh, we're so much power. Ooh, we're the greatest. You know, the way they talk and everything. They're stupid leaders. You know, they are going to get creamed in this thing. Okay, and you know, maybe their own people need to start rising up. And the Israelis even say, hey, we are with the people of Iran. We know that you don't want these leaders. And they go out of their way not to harm anybody in Iran. The terrorists that Iran funded in Hamas went into Israel and killed indiscriminately children, women, and anybody they came across for the mere fact that they were Jewish, hacking their heads off with backhoes, doing what, hose for the yard, and just, they were the most disgusting stuff you've ever seen. The Israelis go in, they put out leaflets, flyers, hey, here we go, we're going to be here, so you better get out of here. And what they do in Iran is they make sure that those buildings are filled with kids and whatnot, so that if they do get bombed, they can go, oh, look at this, and they put their own citizens at risk. Have you noticed in Israel, they have these little horns that go off, and everybody runs into the shelters, and it protects them. Iran doesn't do that. They don't want that. They want as many people killed so they can run around and hold, oh, look at us, and try to use it as propaganda. It's sick. Let's see. Yeah, no problem. I'm just telling you guys the truth here. You know, there isn't it's not one of those things where, well, there's another side, because what has Israel ever done to Iran? they don't want to do anything to them, but now they have to. It's ridiculous. Over the years, yes, they've taken out reactors, etc. This is way more devastating. This one is setting Iran back, decades in terms of their power, and they are just getting absolutely obliterated, their military, etc. They're not going after the people, okay? What's Tucker doing now? What's he doing? I don't like Tucker Carlson, you guys. I know that you guys have always liked him. He seems like he's something wrong with him. Like he's just sort of neurotic and odd. Very strange person who doesn't have any moral clarity on anything. He just sort of goes with the whim. He kind of reminds me, actually, a little bit of Elon Musk. It's just sort of, you're never really sure. It's kind of a loose cannon, not thought through very well. He probably was sort of disinvited to some events and got angry about it. Yeah, he's a conspiracy theorist. That's exactly right. Sometimes you listen to him and you go, oh, wow, that made sense. But then the next time you listen to him, you're just like, what? Wow. That's crazy, Tucker. Yeah. No, he's not far right. He's a conspiracy. He's just there's a lot of conspiracy. There's conspiracy theories on the left, theorists. There's conspiracy theorists on the right. He's just a conspiracy theorist. I don't, when you say like right, I don't know what far right even means. Like it's at this point, because as soon as you get too far right, you actually become left. And then if somebody's really far left, they become a little bit right. Like they're there's this little spot where they collide with each other. Oh, Jesus. Daphne's always got to be the contrarian in the group, just almost out of spite. Let's see, sometimes he would sound rational, and other times he sounded crazy. Right, that's what I'm saying. It's stupid. I have actually, I don't like Tucker Carlson, and I don't think I ever have, he's just somebody I put up with because, he generally talked about things that I might agree with, but I don't know. Just the way he talks, not good. That's right, yeah, they meet He goes far left to far right. They meet at some point. Well, good for them, Cindy J. I don't give a shit. I didn't ask you how many people love him. Of course they do. He's got a huge following. I just think he's a conspiracy nutter, you know? He always has some crazy, you know, he has these weird thoughts. You know who's worse right now? What was that one girl's name? Candace Owens. She just turned into a lunatic. I mean, what happened to her? Did she fall on her face? And I mean, she just literally, her brain just went absolute wacko. She's sitting there defending, what's that idiot, the Hollywood guy? What was the guy? The guy that was Harvey Weinstein. She goes off on that, and then she was looking into the birth certificates for weeks and weeks on Kamala and all this weird crap about the family. And what happened to her? I used to love Candace Owens, and then she just turned into, like, she needs to get back to what her roots were. She just lost it. Yeah, me too. I thought Candace Owens was great at one point. Now she's a nut job. Yeah, I said that. Already said Weinstein. But hey, guys, let's see if we can get the, you know, we got to get to the goal tonight. So we have these massive lulls. Let's see if we can have, like, pretend I'm agenda-free TV or something tonight, where we can have a continual flow of support for the channel, right? She did go off the deep end. I mean, I watched her up until, and then she got in this battle with, hell, what's his name? Shoot, I love that guy. The Jewish guy with the yarmulke on his head. Why can't I remember his name all of a sudden? They worked together, and then she got fired from there, and then she just turned into a crazy person. Yeah, Ben Shapiro. She made it. She actually seemed like it was okay to attack that the Hamas did that to Israel. She's crazy. She is a crazy person. She's somebody that closet hated Israel the whole time. That's the only reason. Yeah, Ben Shapiro. Yeah, that's the only reason she would say something like that. Yeah, man, I hope we're not going to have one of these nights again, you guys, where I have to keep asking over and over and over. Let's just try to, you know, we got the coffees, we got other stuff. If you guys can help support the channel, that'd be great. He owns the day. No, he doesn't. I've liked her for a few years. Hey, thanks, Vicky White. I don't like her at all anymore. Yeah, I liked her maybe like a year ago or something, and then she just sort of... Yeah, I mean, Mark Levin seems like a cool guy. I can't stand listening to him, though. He's just, you know, like drones on and on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a crazy person at this point. Okay, let's see if he's put anything else out. 4 hours, 3 hours. So these are more recent right here. 4 hours. Iran should have signed. Okay, everyone out of Tehran. That's already 19 hours. Is an American first patriot who was doing a fantastic job representing Arizona's 8th congressional district. That's pretty cool to have a place where you can just kind of see his his thoughts as we're going. Yeah, hadn't she had a baby before? You get ultra extreme. Yeah, I don't know how people think some of the crazy things. It's the same people, like when you're covering the Koberger case, right? These people that are out there, like there's this one nut job person out there, that little tiny channel that They go, I'm friends with Koberg, and they mention me as somebody who's spreading false information. And you just like, you look at them and you go, look how weird these people are. These people are crazy, you know, like Looney Tune level stuff. Yes, everybody, I'm a paid individual who goes out and I'm paid by law enforcement to put out false narratives in every case that I cover. The Kanika Jenkins, the Delphi case, the Idaho 4 case. It just goes on and on and on. Oh, you said Daily Mail, I thought, up there. Derek. You said Daily Mail. So go up and read your own comment, Derek. That's why we didn't agree with you. So go check it out. You said Daily Mail. All right. I mean, I can put it on the screen if you want me to. It's right here, look. He owns the Daily Mail, I think. Thanks, Allie Cake. Yeah, he said that, Daphne. He said it himself. You don't need to correct him after he already said the Daily Wire in another comment. Yeah. All right. Anyways, you guys want to go over the that document from earlier today? The U.S. District Court document. This one. It doesn't take that long. I thought it was just really pretty interesting. If you didn't see it earlier in the day. Okay, I'm sure it's just a fantastic thought, Patricia. All right. I'm gonna start down here where it really kind of breaks into right here at the probable cause portion. All right, ready? But I need your guys' support while we're going over this. All right, I'm not gonna. It's hard to break in all the time. Mm-hmm. Is it possible that Brian Koberger could have pretended to be the... No, Patricia. No, the answer is no, okay? All right, here we go. So we're right here. This is this crazy... I mean, I think this is one of the creepiest cases that we've had in a long time. And this is regarding how they have his name is longer in here. Yeah, there's Vance Luther Boelter, the crazy psycho that wore the mask. Ah, jeez. Yes, the door was unlocked. The sliding glass door was unlocked. Come on, Patricia, come on. We've gone over this stuff 1,000 times, okay? So saying something that's less likely than what we've already come up with is kind of just sets us backwards. We can all come up with all kinds of crazy, is it possible that, right? We can come up with, is it possible that 1,000 times, and it's just a complete waste of time. What you got to use, what the best way to do is, what's the thing that's more possible, and go with that. Okay, so when going, is it possible that, and then it's something that's really not very likely, and then I have to say out loud, yes, it's possible. And then you go, oh, see, and then it's like, well, I mean, yeah, 1 in a million, sure. So you're saying there's a chance. think some of this is coming from other channels. I don't know. Yeah, I do too. There's people out there that are even sort of on my side, if you will, that are putting out more conspiracy kind of stuff to get some views and subs and everything. And I'm never going to do that. Okay, so I'm always going to, theorize based on the actual information, and then it ends up being more narrow, where you're sort of like, okay, here's what seems most likely here, just like we did yesterday. I'll probably make a video tonight or whatever for tomorrow about what we discussed on the show. Maybe we'll even do it again tonight or something later on. All right. But how do we get these lulls stopped on the show here? I actually don't I don't dance a jig or anything like that. Yeah. All right, so here we go. I don't think that, where was it? It was right. And I'm scared to start. We're just struggling already out of the gate. And once you start reading, man, it gets worse. So it's hard. All right, here we go. The probable cause, as described below. Let me make this bigger so I can see it. Take up full screen. As described below, Vance Luther Boelter embarked on a planned campaign of stalking and violence designed to inflict fear, injure, and kill members of the Minnesota State Legislature and their families. After taking deliberate steps to research his victims and prepare for the campaign, Boelter traveled to the homes of at least 4 public officials during the early morning hours of June 14, 2024. Disguised as a police officer and heavily armed with firearms and body armor, Boelter approached those officials' homes under the guise of lawful authority. That morning, Boelter murdered 2 people and seriously injured 2 others. But what's interesting is that there was 2 other places he stopped in between other senators' homes. Okay. Evidence uncovered in this investigation indicates that Boelter extensively planned his stalking, murders, and attempted murders. As discussed below, Boelter's preparation efforts included identifying several websites that allow users to search for personal information of others, like home addresses and family member names. Hey, thanks Michelle H. and Dixie Hippie. Boelter also made lists containing the names and home addresses of many Minnesota public officials, mostly all Democrats. He found websites that sold hyper-realistic silicone masks, which looked like the mask Boelter wore during at least his shooting of John Hoffman. See, it makes it sound like that he had other masks at different houses. Isn't that weird? Like maybe he purchased 6 or 7, who knows how many masks he had. I don't know. I think he just had one, but a senator in the Minnesota State Senate and his wife. And he purchased materials from Fleet Farm for use in his shootings, including flashlights and resources that could be used to create the type of fake police license plates found on Boelter's SUV. Boelter drove that SUV to the home of Minnesota House Representative Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman, where Boelter shot and killed Representative and Mr. Hortman. I think his name is Mark. As described below, Boelter undertook these acts and others in preparation for, in furtherance of, and with the intent to kill, injure, harass, and intimidate Minnesota elected officials. Let's see. And then part number 2 is Champlin, Minnesota, attempted murder of State Senator John Hoffman. In the early morning hours of June 14, 2025, Boelter drove his black SUV equipped with law enforcement-style emergency lights to the home of Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman in Champlin, Minnesota. Video footage from Senator Hoffman's home depicted Boelter approaching the front door. I told you this video is absolutely, I bet, creepy as hell. The video that from the Ring doorbell of Senator Hoffman. So let's see. He's approaching the front door dressed to impersonate a law enforcement officer, wearing a black tactical vest and holding a flashlight. He wore a flesh-colored mask covering his entire head. And that's an image right there. Now, I think that picture is this character, because they even have the same markings on the side of the head. And then it says, as shown in that footage, and as described later by multiple members of the Hoffman family, Boelter knocked on the door. He shouted repeatedly, "This is police, open the door!" The response to Boelter shouting, one or both of the senators and Mrs. Hoffman answered the door. According to a statement later provided to law enforcement by Mrs. Hoffman, Boelter said there had been a shooting reported inside the house, and he asked whether the Hoffmans had any guns. Senator Hoffman responds, so this is him talking to the Hoffmans, saying, "Hey, does anybody in there have any guns?" And then Senator Hoffman responded that there were, but that all firearms were locked away. According to Mrs. Hoffman, at some point in the exchange, she realized, so this is after she had her surgery and everything, she must be telling the police this, they realized that who had been shining a flashlight towards Hoffman, impairing their view of Boelter. So Boelter, who had been shining a flashlight towards the Hoffmans, was impairing their view. He was wearing a mask. Upon realizing this, one or both of the Hoffmans told Boelter that Boelter was not a real police officer. Thanks, Timothy Cecil. Boelter responded by saying something like, "This is a robbery." Mrs. Hoffman reported that Senator Hoffman tried to push Boelter backward through the front door, at which point Boelter shot Senator Hoffman repeatedly. Mrs. Hoffman attempted to shut Boelter outside the home, and I think this is probably when the bullet holes went back through the door, but by shutting the door on him, but Boelter then shot Mrs. Hoffman repeatedly, and I bet he shot her through the door. You know, it's like he was out the door and he's like, shooting her through the door, and that's why those holes are on the door. That's the only thing that makes sense. At approximately 2:06 a.m., Senator Hoffman's daughter called 911 to report her parents had been shot. Hey, thanks, Timothy Cecil. And yes, you too can help support the Grant Hughes Investigates YouTube channel. We're already at over the halfway point of the month. Law enforcement responded and provided medical aid to Senator and Mrs. Hoffman, who were transported to a local hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. Although they suffered critical gunshot wounds, Senator and Mrs. Hoffman were stabilized. None of them were hitting organs when they were hit 9 and 8 times. I mean, unbelievable. Maple Grove, Minnesota, home of Minnesota Public Official 1. So this is another home that he was going to kill somebody at. After repeatedly shooting the Hoffmans, Boelter traveled to the home of another Minnesota elected representative, Public Official number 1, in Maple Grove, Minnesota. And look, here's where Hoffman was shot at, him and his wife. And then the next one is inside of this Maple Grove area here. That's right. And yes, and how hard is it to hit that like button, you guys? So inside of this circle right here, right? See that? Thank you, Derek. All right. And so he goes to that home, and look at this video footage. Look, I mean, this is this is like right out of a freaking horror movie, right? Imagine if you were somebody inside this house. I mean, he looks like a freaking alien in this one. Video footage from surveillance cameras at public official one's home showed Boelter repeatedly ringing the home doorbell. At approximately 2:24 a.m., Boelter wore a black tactical vest bearing a badge resembling those worn by law enforcement. While ringing the doorbell, Boelter loudly said, "This is the police! Open the door! This is the police! We have a warrant!" He repeated the command several times. Public official 1 and her family were not at home. I mean, what a miracle. And did not answer the door. Boelter left the residence. Man, they just happened to be like on vacation, or, you know, it's just unbelievable. Look at this creepy stuff here. Oh, man. Just think about looking through your peephole, and this is what you're looking at. And then number 4, New Hope, Minnesota, home of public official number 2. See, these are people that are not being identified at this point. Can we focus on this, Daphne, please? Thanks. Later that night, local law enforcement in New Hope, Minnesota, learned of the shooting at Senator Hoffman's home and dispatched an officer to the New Hope home of another Minnesota elected representative, public official number 2, to conduct a safety check. Now, remember, we talked about some of this yesterday. At approximately 2:36 a.m., an officer encountered a man now believed to have been Boelter sitting in the driver's side seat of a black SUV parked down the street from public official 2's home. The officer believed that the SUV, which resembled a squad car and was equipped with a police-style light bar, was in fact a law enforcement officer providing protection for public official 2. So when that officer showed up, she thought that this vehicle was just another officer. Like, oh yeah, they showed up too, I'm here. But then the officer reported that the individual sitting in the black SUV was a bald white male. Now, did he have his hat on at that point? Because apparently in his arrest images he has hair on him. Now that I think about it, I didn't think about that earlier, but as in arrest images he has hair on. So the fact that she didn't recognize that he had a freaking mask on his face. When to me, it's really obvious when you look at it, right? Like, you look at that and it's like, oh yeah, he's got a mask on his face. But the officer reported that the individual sitting in the black SUV was a bald white male staring straight ahead. And that means he was still wearing his mask, because as we see when he was arrested, he had hair. The officer tried to speak with the man, but he continued staring straight ahead. And maybe he didn't want to look at her because it would give away that he had a mask on easier. But it seems like that should have been a huge red flag to that officer. The officer drove the rest of the distance to the public official. What did she say? Okay, I'm going now. See you later. Now, saw no signs of distress at so the legitimate officer then eventually left that guy, left Boelter, and went to the public official 2's residence and saw no signs of distress. And he waited there until additional law enforcement officers joined her. By the time they did, the dark SUV had left the area. Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, murder of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman. So that last official thwarted the second house he went to. Only didn't happen because they were on vacation. The third one didn't happen because an officer drove by and thwarted his attack. Then now we're on to the fourth one. Now, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, murder of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband. And that last one was over here, right? So he had Maple Grove, and then he drove over here. That one was thwarted in New Hope, Minnesota. And now he's going over to the Hortman's home, which is right down here. Doesn't it make it like 100 times better when you actually have everything on a map and you're just kind of showing the different locations? It just kind of, I feel like it, I don't know, other channels never do this stuff. It's kind of bizarre, and everybody's like, yay! Hey, thanks, Lizzie Rob. Let's see. So then this is number 21. Around 3:30 a.m., local law enforcement, having learned of the shooting at Senator Hoffman's home in Chaplin, went to the home of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, to conduct a safety check. And it says, upon arriving, law enforcement saw a black Ford Explorer SUV parked outside the home. And as we remember, just to give you, sort of a little texture to it, here's the driveway. And this is the vehicle that was parked in the driveway. And, it looked kind of like this from the surveillance camera. These lights were, see these lights right there? Those things were flashing, etc. And the car was right here. Now, these next pictures coming up are creepy. Thanks, Cinnamon Sun Freak. We're currently right now at about 1/3 of the goal, you guys. So if you guys, as a whole, can, join in, we might be able to get there. We haven't had any cat eye donations or anything tonight, so it makes it much harder. All right. So upon arriving, law enforcement saw a black Ford Explorer SUV parked outside the home. The black SUV resembled a law enforcement squad car and was equipped with police-style lights. Those lights were on and flashing. And it turns out that I was right when I told you that he owned a 2015 Ford Explorer. And I believe that that was what he modified, and that's what law enforcement is saying. The vehicle led right back to him. And the vehicle that was being towed appeared to be a 2015 Ford Explorer. The SUV license plate had been replaced with fake police license plate. And there it is right there. And now when you look at it, like looking at the paper, that looks like crap. The word police looks somewhat normal-ish based on their other license plate, but I don't know. I don't think he was trying to fool cops. And it's sort of interesting that one cop didn't really notice anything. Law enforcement arriving at Representative Hortman's home saw Boelter dressed in dark colors and standing near the front door. I mean, is there a creepier picture? I think if we saw this video, you would think it was right out of a horror movie. I mean, look at that. This is from the dash cam or body camera of an officer inside this police vehicle. And there's Boelter right there. And I don't know what that... It almost looks like shadow of a hammer or some crap. But he hasn't even killed the Hortmans yet. So this officer, these cops here got here. If they had been there a minute earlier, they might have been able to save those people's lives. But I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying the timing is crazy. Like, they show up, he's right there, and they witnessed him shoot and kill both the Hortmans. Isn't that amazing? I mean, just disturbing as hell. Look at that. That might even be like too close to... It's like that, right? And so what we're looking at, as I described earlier on the earlier show, is right there. So, I don't know. Let's maybe move it over one more. I don't know if that's really where it is. So it might be right there. And so if you look up there, see that, I think it's more off to the left. I wonder why that one... Okay, yeah, they're way off to the right. So let's go over here. I might go over 2 spots. Like that. No, that's probably, yeah, it's too much. So I guess it's just got to use this one. Like that. And then right up here is likely this window. And then, you know, that one. Or maybe this one is this one. And that one is this one. And then there's like another, you know, something inside of there if you had a different angle. But regardless of that, he's standing, see that right there? He's actually standing about right in here. And he isn't even at the door yet. See that? Moments after their arrival, this is the officers who had filmed what that image we just saw. Boelter fired several gunshots into the house as he moved forward, entering the Hortmans' home. In dashcam footage from the scene, so this is all recorded, moments after Boelter fired those shots, as he moved into the house, a second set of gunshots can be heard. At the same time, several flashes appear in the entryway windows. I mean, God, so you can just tell it's going to be like he goes over there and there's flashes that you maybe can see up there, depending on. But like flashes here and there, and they can see it on that camera. But hey guys, if you're out there, if you can please help support the channel, I'd really appreciate it. You guys are all I got when I do these shows. There's no ad revenue, there's nothing. I put a lot of time and effort into them, and I do the shows. You guys support the channel, and I would appreciate it. Thank you. You guys, I mean, I explain it to you every single night, you know. Last night I gave you in detail what the goals are, and we're not even, it's really, really tough this month for some unknown reason. I didn't do anything differently on my end. It's just different. Different than last month. 3 months ago was really bad as well. Don't know. I don't know how to make something consistent. You know, it's just hard. So if you guys could please help support the channel, I'd be appreciative. Thanks. In dashcam footage from the scene, moments after Boelter fired those shots as he moved into the house, a second set of gunshots can be heard. At the same time, several flashes appear in the entryway windows. About the same time, officers moved forward to the home's front doorway, where they saw Mr. Hortman lying on the floor. So they actually witnessed the shooting. Law enforcement approached the fallen Mr. Hortman, who had been struck by multiple gunshots, to try to provide medical assistance. Must have fallen on deaf ears again. When officers entered the home, they found Representative Hortman suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Officers also found inside the home the Hortman family dog gravely injured. So this idiot actually shot a dog too. Representatives and Mr. Hortman died from their injuries. I wonder if the dog's still alive. Boelter fled the Hortman's home, leaving behind Boelter's 2015 Ford Explorer SUV that was parked outside the house. After obtaining a warrant, officers searched that vehicle. I know from my training and experience that Ford did not manufacture Explorers in the state of Minnesota. Who cares? Like, what does that even mean, you guys? That statement right there. What investigative value does that statement have right there? I know from my training and experience that Ford did not manufacture 2000. You didn't know that. By the way, first of all, you didn't know that when you wrote it. Like, you didn't just have the knowledge in your head. But you say, I know from my training and experience that Ford did not manufacture 2015 Explorers in the state of Minnesota. What difference does that make? Can anybody give me some? I mean, every time I read that, I just go, what are you saying? Who cares? I mean, I don't assume that Subarus are manufactured in Oregon, but I can buy one. You know? Can anybody explain to me that? That makes no sense at all. Good for you, Damon. Good for you. So what does this mean right here? I know from my training and experience that Ford did not manufacture 2015 Explorers in the state of Minnesota. Who cares? I mean, I just don't really give a damn. Who cares if they made them in Minnesota or not? Yeah, they probably made them in Detroit somewhere. You know? Yeah, great. Hey, thanks for the information. Yay! Maybe he thought something else. I don't know what the hell he was saying. Officers found evidence tying Boelter to the SUV, including a bill for a storage unit with Boelter's name. Officers also found the license plates for the SUV. Yeah, see, I told you guys. Didn't I tell you that he had the regular license plate and he would just switch over and remove all of the modifications that made it look like a cop car? Officers also found the license plate for the SUV Boelter drove that night. Public records show the SUV is registered, so after he was going to do all the killings, he was probably going to pull over somewhere, remove all of the modifications that made it look like a cop car, put his plates back on, and just drive. I don't think he would have ever been caught, or not ever, but it would have taken crazy detective work had he escaped the Hortman's house undetected and stopped at that point. Man, I don't know. Let's see. I removed the person from the channel. But apparently, a minute ago when I said, hey everybody, if you could please help support the channel, it just fell on deaf ears, right? I mean, that's when I get really nervous about the show. It's like, oh boy. Here we go. Another one of these. The reading. Officers found evidence tying Boelter to the SUV, including a bill for a storage unit. Boelter drove that night. Public records show the officers also found the license plate that he drove, of the SUV that he drove that night. Public records show the SUV is registered to Boelter and his wife. So that vehicle is what tied him to the crime, and he knew at that point he was screwed, and so he didn't care if he threw his gun on the ground and all this other stuff. Officers also found approximately 5 firearms in the SUV, including semi-automatic assault-style rifles, as well as a large quantity of ammunition organized into loaded magazines. They also found a medical kit containing wound treatment supplies and several eye masks of the kind that might be worn while sleeping. I wonder what he was doing with that. Oh, he's going to put them on people. I think he probably was going to like try to terrorize people and then kill them. So those are the weapons inside that the Ford Explorer there. From the SUV, officers recovered several notebooks full of handwritten notes. And we currently have 0 copies as well, you guys. Listed among the pages of those notebooks were the names of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal public officials, including Representative Hortman, whose home address was written next to her name. One of the notebooks contained lists of internet-based people search engines. So this is what he, all these different, Intellis, been verified. He had all these different things, and he would write down, how to find. I'm not going to go through read that because it's kind of boring, but he wrote all this down in terms of how to find people. In addition, officers found Garmin GPS navigation device in the SUV. That device trip's history included the addresses of Representative Hortman's home in Brooklyn Park public official one's home in Maple Grove and Senator Hoffman's home in Chaplin. What about number 2, though? The trip history also included the home address for at least 2 other state officials. Upon searching the surrounding area, law enforcement found components of disassembled Beretta 92 9mm, a semi-automatic handgun, and at least 3 magazines strewn across the ground a few blocks from Representative Hortman's home. Thanks, Alley Cake. Man, you guys put so much, like Alley Cake tries to help out so much. I wish other people had the same, like, yeah, man, because we do so many great things here, but, you know, whatever. It is what it is, I guess. Thank you, Alley Cake. You're always so generous. I appreciate it. Yeah, we've seen it. Yeah. Let's see. So, yeah, the Beretta 92 9mm semi-automatic handgun and at least 3 magazines strewn across the ground a few blocks from Representative Hortman's home. So, if you went out the back, I would say, if you went out the back there, you know, now I'm sort of wondering if this is where they found those items. Because remember, that is a few blocks, right? Like right there. And remember how they had the law enforcement officer there? Maybe that's where he threw the items kind of in this area, because that is in the direction of him heading to the home that he rented with the roommates over here. So I bet you that's exactly what he did. Thank you, MAGA Mama. Right. Yeah, don't hit the like button twice. Let's see. A few blocks from Representative Hortman's home, rounds contained in one or more of those magazines bore the same head stamp on the discharge cartridge casings found within or in the immediate vicinity of Representative Hortman's home. So he didn't collect the shells, but maybe he collected the shells over at the Hoffman's home, but not the Hortman's. So maybe they would have found DNA, but apparently he was wearing gloves, it looked like. Thanks, Sandy Shirley. Yeah, it'd be hard. It's going to be hard to reach the goal on that wave. Let's see. Records accessible to law enforcement indicate this Beretta was purchased by Boelter in or about January of 2000. So he's had that weapon for a long time. But he owned that one too. And look at this crazy picture here. I mean, this is just like right out of a horror movie. In the same general area, law enforcement also found a flashlight, a tactical body armor vest, and a mask, all consistent with those Boelter can be seen wearing earlier in the morning. Look at that. There's the ear, and I mean, it's just creepy. According to records obtained by law enforcement, Boelter purchased 3 Beretta handguns as well as many other firearms. 38. Law enforcement obtained information to track the location of cell phones known to be used by Boelter and his wife. Law enforcement used the resulting data to locate Mrs. Boelter. And remember, Mrs. Boelter was located, they probably tracked her up to here. That's where they intercepted her, up there, up in this town called Onamia or something like that. And then he said, Mrs. Boelter consented to law enforcement search of her phone. That search revealed that around 6:18 a.m., so that's right around the same time he messaged his roommate, too. Mrs. Boelter and other family members received a group text message from Boelter. In the text, Boelter wrote, among other things, "Dad went to war last night. I don't want to say more because I don't want to implicate anybody." 40. See, isn't that weird? Did he have more to say? See, that's what's interesting about it. See, when he says, "I didn't want to say more because I don't want to implicate somebody," that makes you think that there was more that he could have said that would have implicated somebody. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting, the wording there. Like, why would you even say that? Well, listen, I tell you more, but it'll make you look bad too. So they must have been talking about something. Around the same time, Mrs. Boelter received a text message from Boelter stating, among other things, "Words are not going to explain how sorry I am for this situation. There's going to be some people coming to the house armed and trigger happy, and I don't want you guys around." Ms. Boelter consented to a search of her car. From the car, law enforcement recovered 2 handguns, approximately $10,000 in cash. What, they just had that sitting around like a go bag or something? I mean, pretty weird, right? And passports for Mrs. Boelter and her children. So that might be all that was in the car, was the mother and the children. They made it sound like it was other family members, but so it was Mrs. Boelter and her kids at the time. Law enforcement obtained cell phone location information for multiple phones known to be associated with Boelter. That location data led law enforcement to a residence on Fremont Avenue in North Minneapolis. Law enforcement also found this same Fremont Avenue address in the Garmin's trip history described above. At the Fremont home, law enforcement encountered and interviewed a man who said he lives in Fremont residence, and he explained how he shares it with Boelter at least part-time. So that's probably that big guy that we saw. Officers conducted a warranted search of the Fremont Avenue residence. Officers found a handwritten list of names containing many of those same public official names in the notebooks found at Boelter's SUV as described above. Officers also found a purchase receipt from Fleet Farm dated from June 9th, 2025, which documented the purchase of, among other things, a flashlight, a tactical rifle case, 2 types of firearm ammunition, and the materials believed to have been used to create the fake police license plate attached to Boelter's SUV. Law enforcement also found several notebooks containing handwritten notes. These notebooks were in addition to those recovered from the SUV. Among the pages of those various notebooks, officers found listed the names and often home addresses of numerous Minnesota public officials, including Representative Hortman, one of the people Boelter shot and murdered on June 14th. Beneath her name, a notation reads, "Married, Mark, 2 children, 11th term." So he had all the information. 11th term senator, has a husband named Mark, and they have 2 children. Mark was the name of the Representative Hortman's husband. Another notation is one of the recovered notebooks names Hortman, her address, and her spouse again, with the added notation, "Big house off golf course, 2 ways in to watch from 1 spot." Yeah, so he probably, when we were looking at that earlier, it's probably something like there's the golf course, that's the house. He could probably be right there and watch from this direction or this direction. That is an apartment description. I don't know. That is an APT description of the Hortman's home. I don't know what the AP, maybe they meant approximate description of the Hortman home, which backs up to the course. Another notebook notation lists 3 websites for companies that sell face mask similar to the one Boelter wore. One of those websites describes itself as your premier destination for high-end, hyper-realistic silicone masks. Another of those websites asserts that it sets a new standard in hyper-realistic silicone masks. And this is one of the ones on the website, but that's not the one he's wearing. This one has like a goatee on it. In video footage from the area of the Fremont Avenue residence obtained by law enforcement, Boelter can be seen returning to that residence in the morning after the murder of the Hortmans and his shooting of the Hoffmans. That's when he broke the window. According to an interview later conducted by law enforcement with Witness 1, at approximately 7 a.m. on June 14th, Boelter met Witness 1, this is just some random guy, at a bus stop at 48th Avenue North and North Lyndale Avenue in North Minneapolis. Witness 1 reported to law enforcement that he had no prior connection with Boelter prior to meeting at the bus stop. But how did they meet at the bus stop? According to Witness 1, Boelter had 2 duffel bags with him. Boelter asked to purchase an electric bike from the Witness 1. After Witness 1 agreed, they together boarded a bus. I mean, it's just such a weird story. And traveled to Witness 1's residence. After arriving at Witness... I mean, this is so weird. He just killed people. Why not kill this person to get the bike once you're at the residence? I mean, after Witness 1 agreed, they together boarded a bus and traveled to Witness 1's residence. After arriving at Witness 1's residence, Boelter asked to purchase Witness 1's Buick, also a sedan. The witness agreed. And then it says, around this time, Boelter and Witness 1 drove in the Buick to a U.S. branch location in Robindale, Minnesota, where Boelter withdrew $2,200. And that's right over here. All right, where is it? I had it. Yeah, right here, Robindale. There's a U.S. bank. He went to this bank right here. Around this time, Boelter and Witness 1 drove in the Buick to a U.S. bank branch location in Robbinsdale, Minnesota, where Boelter withdrew $2,200 from, and thereby emptied, so he took out $2,200 and emptied his bank account. Cameras at the U.S. bank captured Boelter wearing cowboy hat. Okay, we're having one of those massive lulls again, you guys. Boelter reportedly provided about $900 to Witness 1. So he paid $900 for an e-bike and a vehicle. I mean, that's something doesn't add up on that story. That sounds ludicrous. He bought a Buick and an e-bike for $900. Around 2:30 a.m. on June 15th, law enforcement received information. I'd like to see if that Buick was stolen. About a possible sighting of an individual riding an e-bike approximately 2 miles northeast of Boelter's family home in Green Isle, Minnesota. However, law enforcement was unable to locate Boelter at that time. Law enforcement investigated further and discovered the Buick that Boelter purchased from Witness 1 abandoned on Highway 25, close to the location of the reported e-bike sighting. But boy, didn't I call that, you guys? As soon as I do this reading, and here's a map. They show where the Buick was recovered, and they have where Boelter's residence in, and where the possible sighting of the male on a bike. And so that's down. Way down here, actually, right here. So this is where the Buick was found. But then I think from that location he took his bike And then he was on a bike over here, and I think at that point he was trying to get back to his house, which is right there. And we don't have yet, like, I didn't look it up either, like what field or where he was found on the ground. And there's the Buick on the side of the road. They approached the vehicle using a drone to check for explosives or other potential safety concerns. A search of the vehicle uncovered, among other things, what appeared to be a cowboy hat Boelter wore when captured in the U.S. bank security footage, as well as a handwritten letter directed to the FBI. In that letter, the writer, who claimed his name was Dr. Vance Luther Boelter, admitted to being the shooter at large. I mean, this guy, he didn't do it though, Gray. It's a setup. In Minnesota, involved in the 2 shootings the morning of Saturday, June 15th. At approximately 9:10 p.m. on June 15, 2025, law enforcement located Boelter in a field in Green Isle, Minnesota, approximately 1 mile from his family residence. Officers took Boelter into custody. Based on the foregoing, I submit there is probable cause to believe that in or about June 2025 in the state and District of Minnesota, Vance Luther Boelter committed stalking in violation of 18 U.S.C. Anyways, that's it. It's crazy though, right? I mean, isn't that just spooky? He was going to kill a lot of people. Just got, some good police intuition, and, people realizing there might be something up early, thwarted one and almost thwarted another, but that one at least led to his knowing who it was and eventually capturing him. All right, well, that's all I got on that. You guys have anything else you guys want to talk about? I'm going to get going here in a minute. This is one of those nights. These are the nights that kind of keep me up at night. I just go, man, I can't make it. It's brutal. No, that's not what he did, Daphne. I read to you what it said. That's not what it was. He got a Buick and he got an e-bike. Yep, it's pretty crazy. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. So, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks to K-Me, Allie Cake, Natalie, K-Me, Patricia Grizo gifted 5. That was our largest donation. Then we had Sandy Shirley, Maga Mama, Michelle H., Stephanie Sprague, Vicky White, Allie Cake gifted 1. Then we had Michelle H. gift 1. Dixie Hippie just Dixie Hippie did a super chat. Timothy Cecil, Derek Sherman, Lizzie Robb, Cinnamon Sin Freak, Allie Cake, Maga Mama, and Sandy Shirley. And we had absolutely 0. Wait, 1 coffee right at the buzzer by Lisa Valenzuela, the Coffee Queen. All right, thanks everybody. See you guys later. Have a good one. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.